Alright, welcome back to Arifureta, Anime Review Episode 31. We're here reviewing the... excuse me a minute here. Alright, here reviewing the 37th episode of the series, Charging Emotions, which adapts from the second half of Chapter 2, which apparently the ending of last episode started from the second half for some reason, and went through the entirety of chapter I believe it was 3, I think it was. Let's see. Just want to be sure of this. So, yeah, it was second half of chapter 3. It was like second half of chapter 2. The entirety of chapter 3 with some minor edits. And the first few pages of chapter 4. I'm like, interesting. The next episode is called True Heart, which is also named the 4th chapter. Oh, in case you're curious though, does this episode take a title from the actual book itself? The answer is yes, it does. It takes from the title of chapter 3 of the book. Yes. Before I talk about the episode itself, I do have a small announcement. It was announced today that episode 12 has been delayed by 3 weeks. Yes, it's not coming out next week. It's not coming out 2 weeks from now. It's come out 3 weeks from now. Due to production issues. The most popular excuse I've heard recently why stuff gets freaking delayed recently. This is the only show. Like, One Piece got delayed because of this. Our Last Crusade Rise in the World. Israel's Dungeon. This show, obviously. I'm like, what the hell? Heck, also, even Fairy Tail. The last episode, that was delayed due to production issues. I'm like, what production issues? Are they basically falling behind in these episodes? Or are they just either falling behind, there's a pay dispute, or they're not getting enough time to work on these episodes? I would love to know what the heck is going on here. Heck, we have like several shows being delayed. One's delayed indefinitely, and 2 are being delayed to freaking, like, I don't know, April for production issues or keep up on production. That's the excuse basically I keep hearing. I mean, this could be also due to creative differences. In the case of this show, we have only one studio this time working this one for the season, unlike the previous seasons which had 2. Astra, which is the main one, and have a co one. My guess is the reason why they do it by themselves, probably because they need help with this one. The first half, basically skipped over here, was all stuff to do with the character Freed. My guess it's in a future episode, but here's the thing. We have, as this very episode, we have roughly 5 more to go. 5 more. I am praying to God they're not going to start adapting Book 10. Because Book 10 is, I think, a little bit longer than this one. Let me just be sure about that. Alright, so here is Book 10, which is basically features the same character on the cover as Book 1 and Book 7. Heck, even in color too. Now, in case you're curious though, how long is this book? If you don't have the afterword, let's see. My guess is they're probably not going to adapt bonus stories. I highly doubt they are. Because they like good for spin-off stuff. So, if they do, a bit surprising. The main story of Book 10 is, well, we take out the first 2 pages here. You take out the first 8 pages here. This is roughly 271 pages. I don't know if that'll be enough time to cover this book at all. for the remaining 5 episodes. If somehow they manage to finish adapting this book with the very next episode, I'd be kind of surprised about that. Because if you're curious, though, how much is left to go of this very book? Like, how much is left to be adapted? Okay, so let me fix this here. Okay, so how much is left to be adapted for this one? If you're really, really curious, it is that much. Yes, that much. Plus, because of course they skipped over. So if you're curious, okay, you have this much here, and you have this much here. Like, if you take that out, that's good enough for one episode. They could basically do it for the very next episode. If they cover that for the very next episode, I'd be surprised about that, because that's a good, like, if you're curious, how many pages is that to adapt? Well, that is right here. This portion, it's 44 pages. For the rest of the book itself, it is roughly I think it's like about 56 pages, possibly. Yeah, that much is 56. So basically, of almost 100 pages. Could that be adapted next episode? It is possible. We'll find out in 3 weeks. And I'm going to check right here, just to be sure about this. Like, is the next episode going to not only just cover the rest of this chapter, obviously, which that is so obvious. Okay, so which next episode is called True Heart, which, yes, has been delayed about 3 weeks. So I don't think they're going to adapt pretty much the rest of this. I mean, I don't think they're going to start adapting Book 10 with the next episode. Based on what I say here, no, I highly doubt it. So, by the way, I'm still not a big fan of the new opening top sequence compass. The visuals look beautiful. I love the visuals. Not big fan of the song. I love Daylight better. So the episode picks up right where the last episode left off, where Cookie is hearing voices in this glass hallway. Which they had a little more here, because it was like one snippet they adapted for this first bit, and then of course this episode, they went back like roughly a couple pages, and that pretty much that. So they're in this hallway. He hears a voice. He hears a few times. He does kind of recognize it. And walking the sun, of course, everyone thinks that he might be hallucinating. Shizu does not think he's hallucinating at all. Because of course she knows him really well. He doesn't make this up. Hajime probably he doesn't know him as well the other ones do. He doesn't know what everyone else does. So he is kind of trusting him because, well, basically he has no choice. But the only reason why he's not calling him a liar is because Corey is there, and Corey's in love with him. And look back for her, because she's in love with him, she does not want to make her unhappy. Because there was a scene that was cut from season 1 where he challenged him to a duel. He lost, and he used non-lethal measures on him in order to defeat him, because Corey be upset if he died. And plus, he had no malice against the guy. Of course, they changed it for the anime, which I'm a little surprised they did. But so it's like the first half of this episode focused on him, and the rest is focused on Shizuku, which is interesting. Of course, been a comment here where basically everyone thinks that she's like a mom, where they mentioned in the early episode, Hydra she reminds him of his mom. So basically, they punch the wall, and of course, it possibly is. He sees like basically a version of himself where he looks like he's evil, and eventually get to the tunnel. We actually get to a clearing up ahead to sit down, and then we have a flashback. Both Shizuku when she's with Corey, when they're I think in middle school. I'm guessing middle school, elementary school, where she thinks that Corey look good and princess basically be a princess, but she gotta be a knight, and it's kind of hurting her with the whole voices in this tunnel thing. And oh yeah, remember? Oh yeah, they're taking a break, and eventually gets the next big area. In the book, they mentioned it was some kind of light here. In the anime, there's no light. It looks like basically virtually the same room. The same area they were just in the previous episode, except switched out with like a frozen turtle with these golems. Some might accuse the anime of reusing the same exact scene, but kind of in a way, this is not the anime's fault. No, I am not going to blame the anime for this. This is not Astrid's fault for this scene. Of why it looks like the same scene we just saw just the previous episode. It is not their fault. It is the writer's fault for doing that. My guess is because he described frozen golems, so I'm sure the animator is like, okay, so let's just probably use the same animation cell we used the previous episode with this frozen area where everyone just shoots up these things, but change up where they fire their attacks at them, where Haijima's guns hit them a problem, along with Shia, Yu, and Corey. But for the other three, they kept getting redirected to somebody else. But lucky enough, basically, that they were able to figure out now Hydra basically passed this part, no problem. Eventually, everyone else is back to like Shia. I think what Shia was actually Corey, where she fires a blast, and of course, Hydra, and of course, she asks you to redirect it 45 degrees, which it does, and they pass their test. And of course, everybody pretty much passes except for Kuki, and of course, Hydra easily figures out it'll take a few minutes, but he'll basically do it. So eventually they do, and then we're back in the same tunnel that we ended that we started the episode with. I'm like, what the heck is this? So once again, this is actually not Astrid's fault for this. This is the writer's fault. Like, oh, we've been separated. Okay. Again, like in the case 2 episodes ago, but not the anime's fault. This is the book's fault for that one. So he arrives in a slightly different area where he sees this big giant iceberg, and he looks at reflection, and of course he talks to himself with it. It's a brief scene, and that's the episode. And we will see another episode for 3 weeks. Yeah, seriously. Good episode. It is kind of interesting, though, that anything related to Freed is skipped over this episode. I'm thinking they might cover this in a future episode. I'm thinking they will, because it'd be kind of dumb to leave all of this material on the cutting room floor and they don't put in the episode. I mean, Book 8 was fantastic. I love the adaptation of Book 8. I think they did a really good job with Book 8. Book 7 did a really good job, except they skipped the epilogue. I'm not sure why. But we only have about 5 more to go for episodes-wise. But lucky enough, it's not going to be 4 months delay like it is with Izmir Goes Dungeon. This time it's only just about 3 weeks. That's how long I have to wait for this one. So it looks like basically for the next couple weeks on Monday, and this is kind of interesting though, from anime during the week. For the next 2 weeks, the anime reviewing are on the weekends. Because Demon Retry didn't air this past weekend. Nope, it did not. So I'm presuming it's airing next weekend. So with 7 days since Fortnite Apocalypse wrapped up, which means that overall, I'm only reviewing for the next couple weeks, roughly about, get this, about 5 anime. Because I have 1 on Sunday, and that's Fairy Tale because I should be back next week. So for this weekend, you have the final episode of Witch. I hope to God they release this episode because do not delay it again. You have newest episode Case Coach, which is a canon episode. There's Blue Exorcist and Bleach. Roughly 4. And then you have the one episode airing on Sunday. And after that, it's free for 5 straight days. Like, you probably would think, like, when was the last time I had 5 days in a row of no new anime? It's been a while. But I'm kind of happy for it. But time will tell. Alright, so that's pretty much a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notification, and join us like button. Next up is Bleach. And I'm going to watch it. Okay? Next video. Bye.